Welcome back to Everyday English Podcast. Let's get your English working for you. Have you ever found yourself nodding and smiling at someone, even though you have absolutely no idea what they just said? Imagine it's Tuesday, 2 p.m. Your boss looks at you and says, "I need that mumbled word. Report by mumbled time, okay?" You freeze. If you ask what, you look incompetent. If you don't ask, you might get fired.
I have been there. I once agreed to organize a surprise party for a colleague on the wrong day because I was too scared to say, "I didn't catch that." It was humiliating.
Stop saying sorry. Today we are giving you 3 professional rescue scripts to check information that make you sound smart, not confused.
It is a terrible feeling, isn't it? You are standing there, your heart is racing, and you have about 2 seconds to decide what to do. Do you gamble and guess what they said? Or do you stop the conversation and admit you didn't understand?
Exactly. And most of our listeners choose option 3, the fake nod. You just smile, nod your head, say, "Yeah, totally," and hope the other person keeps talking so you can figure it out later.
The fake nod is the enemy of fluency. It feels safe in the moment because you avoid the awkwardness, but it is actually very dangerous. If you fake nod in a business meeting, you might miss a deadline. If you fake nod in a relationship, you might agree to something you hate.
But I think the reason we do it is because we feel like we have failed. When we don't understand someone, we instantly blame our own English skills. We think, "Oh no, my listening is bad," or "I should know this word." So we try to hide that failure.
Right. We feel like we are losing status. If I say, "I don't understand," I am admitting that I'm the foreigner or the learner in the room. I am lowering my position.
That is the mindset we need to change today. The strategies we are going to teach you, the echo, the paraphrase, and the blame shift, are not just for English learners. Native speakers use these all the time. In fact, using them correctly actually raises your status. It shows you are engaged, you care about the details, and you are professional enough to ensure clarity.
That is a huge point. Clarifying isn't a weakness, it is a professional skill. So before we get to the specific scripts, we need to talk about the word everyone uses, which is actually the worst word to use.
Sorry?
Exactly. Sorry with a rising intonation. Or pardon, or just what?
Why do you think sorry is so weak, Tom?
Well, look at the word itself. You are apologizing. You are taking the blame. You are saying, "I am sorry that I failed to hear you." It puts all the negative focus on you. Also, if you just say sorry, the other person usually just repeats the exact same sentence at the exact same speed, which doesn't help you at all.
And what is even worse? It sounds aggressive. It sounds like you are annoyed.
Yeah, what is something a teenager says to their parents? It is not something you say to your boss.
So we are going to ban sorry and what for the rest of this episode. We need tools that are surgical. We need to fix the specific breakdown in communication without apologizing for our existence. Let's start with strategy number 1, the echo.
The echo is my favorite because it is so simple, but it makes you sound incredibly fluent. This is for when you heard most of the sentence, but you missed one specific detail, a name, a time, a number, or a specific noun.
The mistake people make here is saying, "Can you repeat that?" When you say, "Can you repeat that?" you are asking them to do a lot of work. They have to say the whole thing again. You look passive.
The echo puts you in the active seat. You repeat the part of the sentence you did understand, and you replace the missing information with a question word, using a specific rising intonation.
Let's give an example. Tom, imagine you are the boss. Give me an instruction with a mumbled detail.
Okay, Sarah, I need you to send the mumble files to the client by noon.
So in this scenario, I heard "send the files" and "by noon," but I didn't hear which files. If I say sorry, Tom will just repeat the whole sentence fast. Instead, I use the echo. I say, "You want me to send which files by noon?"
See the difference? She confirmed she understood the action, sending, and the deadline, noon. She only asked for the missing variable. It makes her sound sharp.
Let's try another one, maybe a location.
We are meeting at Mumble Cafe for lunch.
We're meeting at where for lunch?
Or even better, if you think you heard it but aren't sure, you can echo your guess. We're meeting at Starbucks?
The key here is the intonation. You have to go up at the end. You can't say, "We are meeting at where." That sounds like a robot. You have to say, "We're meeting at where." It implies surprise or just a quick check.
This works beautifully for numbers too. If someone says, that will be mumbled dollars, you don't say, how much? You say, that will be $50 or that will be how many dollars?
It validates the speaker. It tells them, I was listening to you. I value what you said. I just missed this one tiny piece. It's a connection builder, not a connection breaker.
And it saves time. In a busy office or a loud restaurant, efficiency is polite. Making someone repeat a long story is rude. Asking them to fill in one blank is efficient.
I actually use this in my native language all the time. If my husband says, I put the keys on the mumble, I don't say what. I say, you put the keys where? It's just natural conversation.
One trap to avoid with the echo: don't overuse it. You can't echo every single sentence or you will sound like a parrot.
But what if you missed the whole thing? What if the boss spoke for 2 minutes and you were daydreaming, or their accent was just too thick and you have no idea what the main point is? The echo won't work there because you don't have a sentence to echo.
That is a scary moment. That is where we need strategy number 2, the paraphrase.
The paraphrase is a power move. This is where you summarize the general idea in your own words to check if you are on the right track. This is extremely useful for complex instructions or abstract ideas.
The magic phrase here is, just to make sure we're on the same page.
I love that phrase, just to make sure we're on the same page. It sounds so cooperative. It implies we are a team and I want to make sure the team succeeds.
Another variation is, so what you're saying is, or if I understand you correctly, you want me to.
Let's roleplay this. Tom, give me some complicated, slightly confusing instructions about a project.
All right, Sarah. So for the Q3 marketing push, we really need to leverage the synergy from the last campaign, but dial back the ad spend on socials and maybe pivot towards more organic outreach, assuming the KPIs align with the new budget.
Wow, that was a lot of buzzwords. If I just say, okay, I am in trouble, I have no idea what leverage the synergy really means in terms of my daily tasks.
Exactly. So don't fake nod. Use the paraphrase.
So I would say, okay, just to make sure we're on the same page, you want us to spend less money on ads and focus more on writing free content, right?
And as the boss, I would say, exactly, yes. And I would feel relieved that you understood the core message.
Notice that I didn't repeat your words. I simplified them. You said dial back ad spend. I said spend less money. You said pivot to organic outreach. I said write free content. I translated your complex English into my simple English.
This is a huge confidence hack. Many learners think they have to use the exact same big words the native speaker used. No, you prove you understand by using simpler words. If you can simplify it, you own it.
And if you are wrong, the paraphrase gives the other person a safe chance to correct you.
Right. If Sarah had said, so you want us to stop all ads, I could say, no, not stop, just reduce. And we fixed the error before it happened.
Another great phrase for this is, so the main takeaway is.
Oh, that's a good one. So the main takeaway is that the deadline is moved to Friday?
It forces clarity. It cuts through the noise. And honestly, native speakers often ramble. We talk in circles. When you use the paraphrase, you are actually helping us organize our thoughts. You are doing us a favor.
I used to be terrified of doing this. I thought if I summarized it, I would look slow. But actually, in business especially, the person who summarizes the meeting is the leader. Even if you are the junior employee, if you say, so just to recap, our next steps are X, Y, and Z, everyone looks at you like you are in charge.
It creates a checkpoint in the conversation. It stops the train for a second to make sure everyone is on board.
Before we move to the third strategy, which is the ultimate face saver, I want to mention one more phrase for the paraphrase strategy. It is simply meaning.
Short and sweet. Meaning?
Yeah, if someone uses a slang word or an idiom you don't know, just repeat that word with a question mark and add meaning.
Pivot? Meaning?
Meaning change direction. It's very low friction. It doesn't stop the flow as much as, I am sorry, I do not know what the word pivot means.
That is a great tip. We are halfway through these strategies, and if you are finding these scripts useful, this is exactly what we do here at the Everyday English Podcast. We break down the real, messy conversations you face every day and give you the tools to handle them. If you want to make sure you get this kind of listening practice and strategy every single week, please take a second to hit the subscribe button. It really helps us keep making these episodes for you.
And if you are already subscribed, maybe send this episode to a friend who keeps nodding at you when you speak.
Ideally a friend who speaks English, otherwise they definitely won't understand. Okay, let's move to strategy number 3. This is for when the environment is against you. We call this the blame shift. The blame shift. This is where you stop blaming your brain and start blaming the world.
This is crucial for your psychological state. When you can't hear someone, your default thought is, my English is bad. But often the problem is actually the background noise, the bad phone connection, or the fact that the other person is mumbling.
So instead of apologizing, you identify the external problem.
Phrase number 1, it's a bit loud in here. Could you say that again?
Notice you didn't say, I couldn't hear you. You said, it is loud. You made the noise the villain.
Phrase number 2.
You cut out for a second there. What was that last part? You cut out? That implies the internet connection failed, not your listening comprehension. Even if the connection was perfect and you just zoned out, you can still use this. It is a polite white lie.
I use you cut out all the time, even with other native speakers. It is the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card. It removes all awkwardness because nobody is at fault. It is just technology.
And for face-to-face situations, where maybe the person is just mumbling,
You can say, my ears are a bit plugged today, or I'm having trouble hearing over this music.
there is also a vulnerable version of the blame shift, which I really like. You can blame your own brain, but in a physical way, not a linguistic way. You can say, I haven't had my coffee yet. My brain is a bit slow. Could you run that by me one more time?
That is charming. It adds personality. I haven't had my coffee yet makes you human. My English is bad makes you separate.
See the difference? One builds rapport, the other creates distance. The goal of all these strategies, echo, paraphrase, blame shift, is to keep the connection strong.
Let's mix these up in a scenario. Sarah, let's pretend we are at a networking event. It's loud, there's music, and I have a thick accent. I am going to tell you about my job.
Okay, I am ready.
So, yeah, I work in logistics, mostly handling the supply chain for the northern sector.
Okay, that was tough. I heard logistics and supply chain. I'm going to use the blame shift first because it's loud. Tom, it is so loud in here. I missed that first part. You work in what kind of logistics?
See what she did? She combined the blame shift, it is so loud, with the echo, you work in what kind of logistics? Oh, sorry, I said pharmaceutical logistics, medicine.
Ah, pharmaceutical. Got it. That sounds intense.
Yeah, it is, especially with the new regulations coming in next month.
Now I'll use the paraphrase because I want to keep the conversation going, but I don't know the specific regulation. So the new regulations are going to change how you work pretty heavily then?
Exactly. It's going to be a nightmare.
I survived. I didn't fake nod. I clarified the industry, pharmaceutical, and I paraphrased the impact of the regulations. We are having a real conversation.
And you looked confident the whole time. You didn't look like a student asking a teacher for help. You looked like a professional peer navigating a noisy room.
I want to touch on one specific context where students are terrified to do this. Exams. The IELTS, the TOEFL, the Cambridge exams.
Oh, big topic. Students think if they ask the examiner to repeat a question, they lose points.
That is a myth, a huge myth. In fact, using repair strategies like these can actually boost your score.
Really? How?
Because these exams are testing your ability to communicate in the real world. In the real world, people don't hear things. If you just sit there in silence or give an answer that is totally unrelated to the question, that is when you lose points.
That makes sense. An irrelevant answer proves you didn't understand. Asking for clarification proves you have the tools to manage a conversation.
Exactly. If the examiner asks, what is your opinion on municipal waste management, and you don't know what municipal means, don't just guess.
Use the paraphrase. By municipal, do you mean specifically regarding the city government?
The examiner will think, wow, excellent vocabulary checking skills. They will say yes, and then you can answer perfectly.
Or use the echo. My opinion on what kind of management?
It shows you are in control. Fluency isn't about knowing every word in the dictionary. Fluency is about handling the moments when you don't know the word.
That is the definition of fluency for me. Can you handle the breakdown? Can you fix the bridge while you are walking on it?
So we have given you the tools. We have the echo for details. The meeting is at what time?
We have the paraphrase for big ideas, just to make sure we're on the same page.
And we have the blame shift for the environment. You cut out for a second.
But having the tools and using them are two different things. You need to practice this. It feels scary the first time you do it.
It does. You have to override that instinct to smile and nod. You have to be brave enough to stop the flow.
But remember the outcome. The outcome isn't awkwardness. The outcome is respect.
When you clarify, you are telling the other person, what you are saying is important to me, and I want to get it right. People respect that.
Think about the alternative. Think about the surprise party Tom organized on the wrong day.
Please don't remind me. The balloons were expensive, and nobody was there.
That is the alternative. Misunderstanding leads to mistakes, lost money, and embarrassment. Asking a question just leads to clarity.
I want to add one little nuance about body language. When you use these scripts, how should you look?
Great question. You shouldn't look terrified. Don't hunch.
Lean in. Literally lean your body forward. Turn your ears slightly towards them. This signals, I am trying to hear you, not I am stupid. And keep your face open. Maybe a slight squint of concentration, but not a panic face.
If you lean in and say, "Sorry, you cut out," it is the most natural thing in the world.
I also find that sometimes just being honest about your status as a learner is okay, if you do it with confidence.
What do you mean?
Well, if you are really stuck and none of these work, you can say, I'm still learning English and that word is new to me. Could you explain it?
Yes, that is different from sorry. That is a clear, confident statement of fact. That word is new to me. It puts you in power. You are a learner and you are owning it.
It frames the interaction as a learning moment, not a failure moment. Most native speakers are actually delighted to explain a word. It makes them feel smart.
Oh, municipal just means related to the city. They feel helpful. You get the knowledge. Win-win.
So don't be afraid to pull that ripcord if you need to, but try the echo and paraphrase first.
The echo is really the gateway drug here. It is so easy to start using. You can do it today.
That brings us to our challenge for this week. We want you to build this habit before you need it in a high-pressure situation.
Right. Don't wait until your boss is yelling at you to try the echo. Practice it when the stakes are low.
Here is the YouTube Echo Challenge. I want you to open a YouTube video in English right now. It can be a news clip, a vlog, anything with speaking. Listen to one sentence and then pause the video. Then out loud, you have to speak out loud. Pretend you missed one detail. Echo it back to the screen.
So if the video says, we explored the mountains of Peru, you pause and say, you explored the mountains of where?
Exactly. Do this 5 times with 5 different sentences. Get your mouth used to that rising intonation. You went where? It cost how much?
It sounds silly doing it to a computer screen, but you are training your muscle memory. You are training your brain to react with a question, not a nod.
Then try it in the real world on something that doesn't matter. When you buy a coffee and they say the price, even if you heard it, use the echo.
That's $4.50?
They will just say, yep, and you will realize, hey, that wasn't scary, that was easy.
And you will realize you didn't die. The world didn't end.
Once you see that it works on the barista, you will be ready to use it on your boss.
And eventually, you will stop fake nodding forever.
You will be the person who always knows exactly what is going on, the person who organizes the party on the right day.
The person who gets the files in by noon.
That is the goal. Clarity, confidence, and control.
Good luck with the practice. Go open that YouTube video right now.
Thanks for listening to Everyday English Podcast. Don't fake it, fix it. See you next time.